Impact segment tonight, as you may know, it's estimated about 100,000 unaccompanied children will flood into the USA this fiscal year. That has angered many Americans who are calling for deportations and more border security. But yesterday, conservative pundit George Will swam against the tide.
My view is that we ought to say to these children, welcome to America. You're going to go to school and get a job and become Americans. We have 3,141 counties in this country. That'd be 20 per county. The idea that we can't assimilate these 8-year-old criminals with their teddy bears is preposterous.
And joining us now from Washington, Mary Kathrine Ham and Juan Williams. So, Mary Kathrine, let's begin with you tonight. How do you react to Mr. Will?
Well, I'll respectfully disagree on a couple points, but I do agree on this point, which is we should not discount our ability to assimilate new immigrants. It's something that America's good at, that immigrant communities are actually good at, even though there's a large part of the left that fights against it and wishes we weren't so good at it. So there's that. But I think, and I'm not sure about Mr. Will's policy prescription per se, but here's one thing he mentions, which is, look, these numbers are not going to overwhelm Americans. And I think that's true if they were, distributed evenly across the country. Here's the problem. What we're not dealing with is that if that's your policy, that everybody who comes stays without going through any process, then you're not dealing with the many, many thousands that will come after that, which will be a bigger problem. We've already got a humanitarian crisis on the border. The federal government has shown that it's unable to deal with this at that moment, and we don't have a plan for how to fix that.
Well, right.
So,
I mean, Mr. Will is going to say that,
right,
yes, we should accept all the children. Then he has to accept children from all over the world in a continuing basis, because he didn't qualify that, as I would have, by saying you got to now shut the border down, which you can do.
Well, yeah,
but Mr. Will didn't do that. And the other thing is that you said, well, we can do it. 50%, Juan, of all immigrant families, not just illegal immigrant, but all immigrant families, 50% are receiving entitlements from the federal government. As you know, there's an $18 trillion debt, and it's growing. By the time President Obama gets out, it'll be $20 trillion. So it's not an unintended, like, oh, with their teddy bears, we can do it, and there's no downside. There's plenty of downside to this, is there not?
No, I mean, gosh, what an extraneous argument that one is. I mean, yeah, we have lots of things that rack up debt. I mean, if you want to just, say we have too many loopholes for big corporations and why doesn't GE pay tax? I mean, you can have that discussion.
Are you diminishing the fact that 50% of all immigrant families are on some kind of entitlement program? Are you throwing that just in the garbage pail?
You want to start talking about the elderly now? Oh, gee, look at all these elderly people.
All right, so you're
comparing
this situation to other situations, but you're not dealing with it.
I'm just saying, that's why I don't think you're speaking to the heart of this conversation. Let's move the conversation
No,
forward.
I want your answer on the
Will is a
I'm not moving anywhere, Williams. And hear me.
Go right ahead.
Hear me.
Go right ahead.
Hear me. I want you to address my question. 50% of all immigrant families are receiving entitlements from the American taxpayer. It seems to be okay with you.
Yes, because guess what? We have support for the elderly. We have support for the elderly. We support our veterans. And I think these children, as George Will said, and a real conservative Will, he said on the Statue of Liberty, it says, we can handle your teeming masses yearning to be free.
All over the world will handle everybody's teeming masses.
And let me just add quickly.
That's just insane.
Let me quickly add this, that it's not just George Will. It's the Southern Baptist Convention. It's the evangelicals. It's the Pope. It's Catholic charities.
You're reading it wrong. Everyone that you mentioned wants compassion for the children who are here, and so do I. I just gave Beck a bunch of money to make that happen. But you are dodging the unintended consequences of an open border. Now, I got to get back to Mary.
You just did. Open border. You just distorted the argument intentionally.
Juan, you have never called for guard on the border. Wait, Mary Kathrine. You have never called for guard on the border. You have never called for an effective fence on the border. You are an open border guy, and that's who you are.
As much as I love you, all you do is caricature a position in order to defeat it.
It's the record. You're on this program every single week.
I'm all for cracking down on people who overstay their visas, but I'm not to the point where I say, oh, let's make walls that somehow are going to keep everybody.
We'll let the audience decide where you are
That's
on
a
the issue.
nonsensical argument.
All right, Mary Kathrine. Look,
compassion for this community does not require that we forego an entire process and have a rational way of dealing with this. There's a bipartisan Cornyn-Cuellar bill that says, look, let's speed up this process. There's an adjudication process they're supposed to go to, not to deport them per se, but to determine who has legal standing to be here. Some of them will have legal standing, and we should say to them, become Americans.
Mary Kathrine, can I break it to you? Can I break it to you gently? It's never going to happen. There's
yes,
100,000 of them.
They're irrational beings.
They can't do it. You can't even get a driver's license. Go on in and try to take the test. You're gonna adjudicate 100,000 children to see if they've been raped or to see if there's gangs trying to kill them. It's never going to happen.
There's a process they're supposed to go through. We should at least honor that and try that before we say do away with the entire process.
It ain't working. All right? So what the solution to this is we have to accept the 100,000 that are here. We should try to figure out who they are and where they came from. But we have to stop it now.
I think that's one of the ways you stop it is you put them through the process and you send those back and do not have legal standing.
Is right, Bill. Bill, we have criminals in this country. We put them in court. What do you want to do? Send them to the executioner's chamber without a trial?
I'm just telling you it is impossible to do what they are talking about doing. It will not happen. Mary Kathrine Juan, thank you. Directly ahead, Britt Hume. On a very controversial question, is President Obama anti-Israel? Later, Megyn Kelly on what issue she thinks most threatens America. Up ahead.